Aries compatibility with Gemini in love, life, sex, communication, friendship and trust. Aries and Gemini. Aries and Gemini sexual and intimacy compatibility. When Aries and Gemini engage in sexual activities, who knows where they could end up? With Aries libido and Gemini's ideas, they might be a bit too creative and harshly judged by their environment. It is a good thing that they both don't care that much about others' opinions anyway. In its healthy image, this is mostly a combination of passion, energy and curiosity. In a not-so-healthy one, their sexual relationship can be full of nasty words and verbal aggression. The good thing is that neither is too sensitive and easily hurt, so this can be exciting and unique for both of their experiences. Since Aries is a warrior by nature, Gemini's approach to sex might be too playful for their taste, but this is usually only until they open up to the everlasting game provided by Gemini partner. Their main goal is to stay as uninhibited as possible, so the air sign of Gemini can give oxygen to the fire of Aries. Aries and Gemini trust. Lack of trust is probably the biggest problem in this relationship. Aries is passionate, ruled by Mars and possibly very jealous. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the zodiac's trickster, always changing the face they wear for the world. Most Gemini representatives aren't even aware of their basic individuality, convinced that they change personality overnight. Although this is not exactly true, the sense that Aries can get from them is not exactly a recipe for trust. Because of this, Aries might get angry, Gemini distracted and distant, to the point where Aries starts looking for another partner even if the relationship has not ended and Gemini doesn't even care anymore. Aries and Gemini communication and intellect. Aries is simply not the master of the art of conversation. Gemini is a sign ruled by Mercury and conversation is their main life theme. Even if they talk less than a typical Gemini usually does, their inner dialogue must be rich. Both partners should approach the relationship as if Gemini person was there to teach Aries how to have a good conversation. Since Gemini loves to be in a role of a teacher and loves to be in a relationship in which their partner learns something from them, this should be a good approach for both of them. That is if Aries' ego allows this submissive role. Still, we are all aware that there are some Gemini representatives that simply talk too much about nothing significant at all. This would be a reason for Aries to lose their temper and think of their partner as superficial and even stupid. This loss of respect is truly bad for their own ego, since the decision to be with this partner was theirs in the first place. They should remember that there is always somebody in the world who wouldn't think of this specific Gemini as stupid and that everyone deserves to be with someone who doesn't see them in this light. When this disrespect happens in their relationship, Aries should consider letting their Gemini go and look for someone who suits them better. Aries and Gemini emotions. Emotional realm is a tricky territory for this couple. Aries' partner has warm, passionate emotions and a problem to express them. Gemini often doesn't go very deep beneath the surface to look for someone's hidden qualities and isn't really that emotional by nature. So this is a mix of an emotional partner who can't communicate how they feel, and a rational one who talks about everything else. The good thing is that Aries does not lack the fierceness to turn Gemini's attention to them and make them listen. When they manage to connect in a constructive dialogue, it is possible for them to explain to each other where they stand and how they feel, and this way set a good foundation for future emotional exchange. Aries and Gemini values. When you calculate the fact that Aries values a person's ability to be clear and concise, and Gemini's need to talk around everything, it seems pretty obvious that this is not a perfect match. Now think of Gemini. It is kind of hard to think of any of their values except for the fact that they value everything interesting, and this is a kind of understatement since they find almost everything interesting. Well, this is not exactly true. Gemini partners value knowledge and someone's literal abilities, as well as a fine rational mind. This is something Aries can fulfill to a certain point, in case they don't react on impulse to everything Gemini says. It is not that difficult for these partners to respond to each other's needs, but if they don't share similar education, interests and strength of character, they might see each other unworthy of their affection. Aries and Gemini shared activities. Gemini is all for activity, however insane certain activities might be, and Aries will feel liberated in this relationship. It is hard to say who will lead and who will follow, as Aries always leads with that atomic energy, while Gemini always comes up with new ideas and initiative. They motivate and challenge each other all the time, and they both never say no. Choices of activities Aries come up with must be truly aggressive and ridiculous for Gemini not to engage. If Gemini thinks of something that Aries would maybe like to refuse, their ego wouldn't let them and they would jump in anyway, just to prove that they can. This much excitement should be followed by enough rest and time spent at home. Summary: the overall impression of this couple would be good, exciting and challenging, a relationship where both partners can learn a lot and be active in a healthy way. The main problem with their romantic involvement is the lack of trust, especially if Aries' partner gets too attached to Gemini, always fighting for their freedom. The need for conversation with a lot of essence is bigger than any positive or any negative aspects of their relationship, and both of them should always have this in mind. In general, there is a big chance these two will end up together, because their shared love of adventure is bigger than most of their troubles.